Well, this is the After Sessions, and I'm here with Cerian. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming down.
Pleasure, thanks for having me.
So you've got a debut single out.
I do.
Wasteland. What was that about?
I'm not very good at answering this question. I kind of wrote it just when I was trying to get the confidence to pursue my own music, because I've been a musician for a number of years and always been writing, but didn't have the confidence to actually share my own music. So it's kind of about that, trying to identify like your dream and trying to go for it, but being afraid and not knowing what happens if you're going to jump off the cliff. Are you going to fly? Are you going to fall? What's going to happen? And kind of feeling the fear and not knowing how to navigate it. The space between where you want to be and where you are, how to navigate that, and all the different things you've tried and whether you've actually ended up there. So it's the first song in a series of 5 that forms the EP, and I wrote them all in the middle of the night because I'm an insomniac and like completely nocturnal. So it's probably heightened by night time because everything.
Are you awake now?
Yeah. I can be awake whenever. I don't really sleep very much. So,
wow.
So
I'm quite jealous. I'm total opposite.
Are you a morning person?
I just sleep too much. That's the. It's not really an issue. But
sleep and I, we've never really got on. So.
Okay, so sleep and I get along very well. Probably a bit too well, actually. And I listened to your recording, actually, and there seems to be a male voice featured on it as well.
Yeah, what's he doing there?
Who's the male voice?
So that's Robert Tyler Wilson. He's a singer-songwriter as well, and he's playing guitar on that track as well.
Cool.
And then I'm playing piano and harp, and then we have some drums on there as well.
Wow. Now we need to talk about this harp because so when we were doing the live session and on the way here, and actually when we booked you in as well, Alan said, this is our first harp, and I was like, you know what, we've had so many different sessions but we've never had a harp. So obviously a pleasure to have you guys in the studio, but particularly because the harp is so awesome.
It's a cool instrument,
and particularly in this really, really intimate surroundings. It sounds a bit like raindrops.
Kind of. That's nice,
but like not in real life. Kind of how you imagine raindrops to be,
like a kind of musical rain.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I think anyway. But how did the harp thing come about? Have you always played the harp?
Well, I played piano first. I learnt piano, and my mum's Welsh, and so I call myself Welsh. Oh, Cerian's a Welsh name as well, or Cerian, as I should say in Welsh. And I guess she must have taken me to like a harp concert in Wales or something. I don't know exactly, but I was like, I want to play the harp. And we happened to have some family friends that whose children had played the harp but given it up, so they still had a harp. So we hired it off them for just to see if I liked it to begin with, and then for like the next all my teenage years. And so I played the full orchestral harp and with the 7 pedals and everything, and then finally got my own one when I was like 18. And then went away to uni and studied music and singing, and took up the guitar as a sort of reaction against the big instruments I'd chosen, because harp and piano not very portable.
But mini harp is alright.
So yeah, then my life changed last year when I got my own little mini folk harp, and now I can carry it around to gigs, and it's amazing. And I was introduced to that through a band I play with, Joyce, and they had this. They're a medieval folk band, so they have this small harp they lent me, and I was like, this is amazing, I've got to get one of these. So I got one last year. It's called a harpsichord, the make, and I'd been looking for a small harp for a while, and they just all sounded nothing on a big harp, whereas this one has this beautiful resonance and clarity of tone. I just think it's really amazing, so I love it.
Now I saw you tuning it earlier, and you said it was basically a bit like a grand piano but standing up. I've never really thought about that until I saw you tuning yours.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. When you think of the grand piano has the long bit and then the curve in and then to the short strings. And then if you stand that up, that is the shape of a harp. And then the long strings are the low notes and the short strings are the high notes. And basically the harp is the white notes of a grand piano. And then either with an orchestral harp you have 7 pedals and they do the sharps and flats, the black notes. Or on the little folk harp I have little levers, so I manually put the string a semitone sharper for certain different keys.
That's amazing. Let's go back to Wasteland and your EP. Do you feel like it was a bit of a long time coming?
Yes. It was definitely a long time coming.
How long was a long time coming?
Well, we did start recording it 2 years ago, before Robert moved to Japan, because he lives in Japan now, and we recorded it before he left, and but we didn't finish it, so I continued the process, and like it kind of grew and grew, and I added like 8-part choral backing, and we didn't start with harp on it, and I was like, I'm going to bring my harp to the studio. I'm going to add some harp to it, and yeah, it's just and then the project grew, and I was like, I'm going to make it an EP and do more songs, and so it's taken quite a while to get it all together, but we're finally here.
And were the other tracks for the EP written especially for the EP, or were they songs that you happened to have that you thought would go quite nicely with it? Or
no, they all existed.
Okay.
And they, like I said, they'd all been written in a similar sort of period of time, so they felt like they were connected by, you know, the fact that I'd written them in the middle of the night, and in theme. There's quite a lot of themes that run through all 5 songs, and I've got a different, in my artwork for it all, a different colour for every song, so they kind of go on a journey. I know what the journey is. I'm not sure if anyone else will get it, but I'm caught in a wasteland. All of the lights can't help me out of the quicksand. Light a fire, the precipice calls me, singing my name, but it sounds like a warning. Play it again, and ooh, tried running and tried hiding, and ooh, tried fighting and tried lying, and ooh, I tried falling and I tried flying, and ooh, if I keep fighting then I'll die trying. If I run, if I hide, it's lonely on the other side. If I run out of time, it's only that it isn't mine, and I've fallen out of light again, and I've fallen out of time again. If I run, if I hide, it's lonely on the other side. If I run out of time, it's only that it isn't mine. I'm stuck in a sideshow. All of the lights are on a different slideshow. Play it again, and ooh, tried running and tried hiding, and ooh, tried fighting and tried lying, and ooh, I tried falling and I tried flying, and ooh, if I keep fighting then I'll die trying. If I run, if I hide, it's lonely on the other side. If I run out of time, it's only that it isn't mine, and I've fallen
Alpha Sessions.
Before we have a guest come in studio, I normally do a little bit of having a nosy online, basically. And one of the big things that I noticed was that you love your literature and your poetry, and you take, I guess, your literature inspirations and weave them into songs.
Yeah.
Have you always done that?
Yeah, I think I have. I've always loved poetry and literature, and sometimes it works in different ways when I'm writing. Sometimes it's a springboard. Sometimes I start from, I'll just read a line, and I know it's not actually one of the songs on the EP, but it's like a good explanation. But I just read this line of Samuel Taylor Coleridge, and this song appeared. And then there's only one of his lines in it, but this song just appeared around it. And then other times there's a song on the EP called Caught in the Dark, and I'd written the start, and then I'd written this next bit, and I couldn't tie it together. And I was reading some William Blake, and this line of "Summer born to sweet delight, summer born to endless night," and I was just like, oh, "That's so cool!" And then I put it in, and then the whole song tied together, and I was like, "Oh wow!" So it can work different ways, but I just love that poets have really wonderful ways of saying things, better than I can say it. So I'll nick it.
That's a good shout. And also Lewis Carroll.
Yes.
Who is Alice in Wonderland, right?
Yeah, and that's on the second single from this EP, and it starts the song, "In a wonderland they lie, dreaming as the days go by, dreaming as the summers die."
Because, I mean, we have sessions that come in here, and a lot of them are about, I don't know, past relationships or this and that, and obviously you read about you, and this is a total game changer, I think, just because it's so different.
That's
and
nice
it sounds
to know.
so great.
And they are about a variety of things, the songs, but I love it when you can. I mean, one of the reasons we all love music and poetry is because we all feel those things.
Yeah.
So when somebody else has said it in a better way, it's good, and we all empathise, with those same feelings. So the idea that other people can share that feeling.
Yeah.
And I love that in poetry it can be beautiful as well. That's what, yeah. Daisy and I, my friend Daisy and I, we played at Creative Mornings, this thing where they had a guy who'd made a poetry anthology, and it was he called it the poetry pharmacy, and people would go to him and tell them their problems, and he would prescribe them a poem for their problem. And he said, and it was just beautiful, because sometimes, he said, the biggest problem people came to him with was loneliness. And then he would share this poem with them that said, I can't remember it. It's in the book, and I've written it on my phone, but it was about never forget your beautiful light. And it just reminds you of us all being together. And he was saying how poetry can be such a beautiful thing for people to share, and a healing thing. And I think poetry music is similar in that way.
Absolutely. And I think if you turn it on its head, for people that aren't a fan of poetry but they are a fan of your music, it can be like an access way for them to get into poetry as well.
Well, hopefully, yeah. I mean,
the other way around.
My brother said, he was like, you have to be careful you don't come across as a bit of a know-it-all or something. A lot of people don't want to hear about poetry. And I'm like, yeah, but
I think you won't, if you're not familiar with poetry, then you won't even notice it.
Yeah, hopefully.
But if you are, then you'll pick it up.
Yeah.
That's
so sometimes I'll do a gig and I'll be like, any poetry fans might notice. Because there's Fool's Gold has some lines of William Blake, which are quite famous. Yeah. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night. What a mortal hand.
See, I don't know William Blake, but I think that sounds beautiful. So.
But I purposely changed it. So I always in my gig, I'm like, I've changed it on purpose. I didn't just get it wrong.
Do you have to say that, otherwise you'll get picked out?
Yeah, I feel like someone will come up to me and be like, I don't know if you realise this, but you got the poem wrong.
It's a bit like me with lyrics. I get lyrics notoriously wrong all the time. But then sometimes I'll be like, no, it's a new song and the words have changed, so it's fine. So you've also, when I was having a nosy, noticed that you've also been dubbed cross between London Grammar, Kate Bush and Joni Mitchell. When people say things like that, do you not find it quite scary?
Well, it's a massive compliment.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, thank you, that's really kind. I don't know if I can live up to that, but I'm happy to take that.
It's amazing.
I think it's because I've trained classically, so I have a kind of soprano range. So yeah. I do quite enjoy being quite woo, like flexible with my voice. So I think that's probably why people say Kate Bush and Joni Mitchell.
Yeah.
I think that's where it comes from. Not that I necessarily sound like them, but I absolutely love all of those artists, so I'm very flattered.
And you've also worked with some massive names as well, sung with the likes of Sam Smith and loads of others as well. Would you say that there was, I guess, a person that would be a highlight in your career that you've worked with in terms of enjoyment, I guess?
Well,
sorry, big question.
Yeah, I guess I've always been a massive Radiohead fan, so that was really, really awesome.
That's how you met Daisy as well,
That's
right?
how I met Daisy. Ooh. Yeah, we both were doing backing vocals on their latest album, and that's how we met. And that I still have to pinch myself about that, because it doesn't seem real. Because I grew up listening to their albums and stuff, and it's like, oh wow, I'm on an album of Radiohead. That's really cool. Not cool about it. And then I guess another highlight would be singing with U2. Like that was and that was with a group called London Contemporary Voices, who were a really awesome choir. And we did this live from Abbey Road session. And we still now, when I hear the songs that we sang, I just smile, because I just remember like being stood there and just being like, this is amazing. Because I watched U2 at Glastonbury in I think it was 2011, and stood in the rain and loved watching them. And I was just like, when I was standing there watching U2, I never ever ever did I think one day I'd be stood behind them doing backing vocals.
How many years later did that happen?
I guess we filmed that in 2017, so I guess that's 6 years later.
Do you think when you do sing behind or work with these amazing artists, do you think they kind of inspire you without realising?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, because they're all doing amazing things, and it can be lots of different ways, like either the writing, well, all of the ways often, the writing, but also the way that they're really great performers, the production, and it's always different, because if you're doing a session, like a recording session, then you can appreciate what's going into it, the production wise, and then if you're doing a live thing, you appreciate how they perform, how they sing, how they interact with the audience. Just always inspiring, always learning.
And if you could have a dream collaboration with anyone, who would it be with and why?
Do you know what, I've always been a massive fan of Coldplay.
Nice.
I would love to sing and work with Coldplay. That's probably, I know that, it's very unlikely, but
and no, come on, let's do this properly. If you could play with them in any venue.
Well, I know the answer. It would be Glastonbury.
Okay.
Pyramid Stage, because I've been to Glastonbury 9 times, and when I first went to Glastonbury, that's what kind of like, I'd been brought up on classical music and jazz and ballet. I did ballet and didn't really know a lot about like rock and pop and stuff. And I went to Glastonbury and I was just like, oh wow, I want to do that. That's so cool. So it has a really special place in my heart. And it was, I was 18 or whatever, and I was like, this is so much fun. I want to do that. So Glastonbury has a really, really special place in my heart.
Back to your EP. If people want to get their hands on that, where can they go? What can they do?
Well, the EP isn't out just yet. So Wasteland is out, my first single. Yeah. And then there's going to be 4 more singles. I'm going to release each of the song as a single. So they'll be out every month for the rest of the year. Hey. And then the full EP will come out in February 2019. Are we in 2018 now?
That's weird, yeah. Crazy. And if people want to find out more about you as a solo artist, where can they go online?
My website is cerianmusic.com, and Cerian is spelt, because we said it's Welsh, it's Cerian, Cerian, and all my social media is at Cerian Music, so any of those, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all those things. All of the words we leave unsaid, all of the broken promises, where do they live if they're never shown, who carries the burden of their life unknown. I'll have a word with the wind to carry my sins away. I'll have a word with the earth and ask if it's gonna hurt. Was it always so? Did we ever know the time would overtake us all, with nothing left to show when we have to go? Carry me home, carry me home, carry me home, on the wings of time unowned. All of the life we've yet to live, all of the love we've yet to give, they never were ours to hope to have. We're living on borrowed time in someone's plan. I'll have a word with the wind to carry my sins away. I'll have a word with the earth and ask if it's gonna hurt. Was it always so? Did we ever know the time would overtake us all, with nothing left to show when we have to go? Carry me home, carry me home, carry me home, on the wings of time unknown. Carry me, carry me, carry me home, carry me home, on the wings of time unknown. Carry me home, carry me home, home, carry me home, on the wings of freedom flown.
The Alpha Sessions.
Cerian's now joined in the studio by Daisy. How did you guys meet?
Well, so we met on a session at Rack Studios in London, recording backing vocals for Radiohead.
As you do.
For the latest album, A Moon-Shaped Pool.
Yeah.
Was it everything you thought it would be?
And more.
It was actually, I didn't take it in at the time, the gravitas, because it was just like, I was just so like, okay, this is a job, I've got to do it right, especially because it's Radiohead.
Yeah.
But I mean, always do it right anyway, but it's just Radiohead, you've got to do it right.
Yeah.
And I didn't really, I mean, they were quite cool. It was quite an experimental kind of vibe with a lot of what we were doing. So I didn't really know how much of it would end up on the album. So I kind of was like, didn't think too much more about it. And then when the album came out, I don't know about you, but the album came out and I could hear us.
Yeah, I
like
know.
really clearly on 6 tracks.
Yeah.
And that's when I got giddy.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, we're actually on the album.
Permanent in record.
That's mental and quite a claim to fame, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
And a pretty cool origin story, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a good how you met story.
Yeah.
So how did Herd come about?
So Herd came about, it's basically, just to give a little background about it, it's not a band, it's not a, I don't know what else it is, but it's not a band, it's a collective, and the idea is that we the two of us sort of run it, and we invite singer-songwriters to come and join us for different concerts. For the most part, it exists as a live concept, so we do gigs together, whether it's in London or touring, and we support one another both musically and emotionally.
and just with the difficulties or general admin of being a singer-songwriter and an independent artist, like working together and helping each other. And Daisy also set up a monthly meeting for artists and creatives where we just share advice and tips, really cool, and have a kind of support network, which is really great because it can be really lonely. It can be when you're a solo artist, as we both are. It can be very lonely, not just performing, but also making all those decisions and doing all the work required, because there's so much business side work and admin and all those things. So just having other people to bounce ideas off and then to tour with as well and to perform with is really lovely. Yeah.
So how long has this been going now for?
Mm.
A few months, really. It's really
so it's pretty new.
Quite
new.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
And the other aspect to it is that it's for women in music, because we really want to promote women in music. Because, well, you said it. Initially, you were like, I'm really fed up of being the only female voice in the studio or in the workspace.
I mean, I sort of realised how many times I'd been the only woman in the studio, and how most of the writing I'd ever done with other people were with men, and I was like, why is that the case? Like, and then we started looking into the statistics.
And I've always been a big feminist as well, and often be the only female on a lineup as well. It's in all areas of the music industry,
and in the studio, but also live. And like looking at the statistics, we found PRS, I think it was only 14% of songwriters, composers were female last year. And then we saw that about the same percentage throughout, like through festival lineups in America, through people who were like responsible for the most successful, like in the top 40 hits.
Top 40 hits has it's even really lower percentage of female writers. I'm going to get it wrong, but it's something like 6%. It's really appalling. And even if it's like, but there are some big female pop artists, which is awesome, but often they're singing songs written by men, and so that female voice and that female perspective still isn't being heard. And you can really tell as well, like when you go into the lyrics, and sometimes you don't. You hear a pop song and you just like
sing it away.
Yeah, you just kind of bop along to it. But when you listen to the lyrics, you can tell when it has been written by a man.
Yeah, totally.
I can't get over that in this time.
Yeah,
totally.
And also, it's not reflective of our experience. No. Like, I know so many amazing female musicians, songwriters, composers in lots of areas, and that isn't reaching the main stage. It's not reaching the higher levels. Is really sad and disappointing. And so we wanted to just try and do something to promote it, celebrate it, change it.
And of course, it's our own little small thing we can do, but there are bigger initiatives. There's this amazing initiative that PRS Foundation are doing called Key Change, and their goal is to make 50-50 lineups in festivals by 2022 or something, like something.
Which is great,
amazing,
because there was that thing online a couple of years ago which went kind of viral, where they, for the Reading and Leeds lineup, they took away all the male acts, so there were only female acts, and there was only like 3 names on the poster, and that's just, there's no need for that. There are loads of brilliant female or female-centered artists, so this initiative of PRS is really great.
And we should say female and also non-binary, so we don't, because we're obviously focusing on female because that's how we identify. But it's also the same,
female identifying,
even more so.
Going back to you guys. Do you find, I know that you've only been working together for not very long, for a few months, but have you taken up your own roles within the collective? So do you find that when you rehearse and stuff, you formulate a particular style, or you work together in a particular way, because you're Cerian and because you're Daisy?
Interesting, good question.
Because we've only set up Heard in the last few months, but we've been working together for much longer.
Yeah.
Like, we kind of formalised it in the last few months.
Completely.
But we'd been working together for year and a half, maybe.
I mean, naturally, it must already happen without realising, because obviously you play different instruments.
Yeah.
But in terms of you guys working together, do you take on particular roles every time, or do you swap it about? How does that work?
I would say it's pretty equal.
I think it's pretty equal.
Like, we were both sharing our different contacts and our different opportunities that come along. And kind of, we have this like Google Doc that we share, that we like put all our ideas in and stuff. And but yeah, I think it's pretty equal. I mean, obviously you play harp and I play guitar, banjo, and we both sing, and we both have lots of harmony experience. So we kind of both kind of just naturally. We actually sang for somebody else recently, for a beautiful singer-songwriter called Hannah White, and we just like immediately just went to the harmonies like that we didn't even need to really think about it too much. It
Yeah, it was really great.
And naturally.
And then occasionally, if we did go, oh, should we do? And like, because we both trained classically, we're like, oh, I'll do the fifth, you do the third, and we could just have this whole shorthand of like, we know,
yeah. And then
We've
just
got
go
it.
in. And in fact, we improvised some harmonies on the stage. Actually,
and it
night.
worked.
And it was
just
it
good.
was very cool.
So I think it is pretty even. I would say we've also got similar strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, that's true. We're both more likely to be night owls.
And we spoke about this before.
Yeah.
And we're also. Well, let's not talk about
our weaknesses. We're both very creative and perfectionist as well.
Yeah. True.
Which I think can be a weakness, but also can be a strength. So it's about trying to balance that.
We both encouraged each other to like just finally release these songs that we've been sitting on for a while.
Because we both they've been a long time coming for both of us.
Yeah.
And so we both have just been like, let's just release them. Yeah. Let's just do it. We're going to set a date and we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And you've done it.
Yeah. I can't actually believe my song is out. Like, it is really exciting.
It's crazy. Would you guys ever consider writing together?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's
100%.
on the list.
As on the list,
there's
so many things that always come up that like seem more pressing at the time.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we've got to sort this set out for this gig or this tour and this. But we really want to write together, and we are gonna.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're going to be looking for an EP.
Yeah. Well, the long term, it would be great. I think it'd be great to have a Heard like compilation or something.
Nice, yeah.
You know.
So, and invite our friends who we really like to come and join on it. So as you say, this is kind of a bigger collective as well.
Yeah.
So we're kind of running it, but we like to invite other people to join us. So that's the future. I think we want to try and make it quite a big collective, so we can potentially do gigs with different people at different times.
So we want to run a night, like a quarterly night, where it's kind of like a songwriter's circle, and then the idea is we're sharing each other's music, but can also sing on it and play on it and just kind of maybe jam together a bit.
Exactly.
So good. You guys have been gigging loads together. And this is always a funny question that I like to ask people, because I just think you get ridiculous answers. If you were in this dream scenario, I know we touched on it briefly with collaborations, but you could have any sort of rider that you wanted before you got on stage. Go crazy, what would it be?
Okay, well, I know that you have a particular liking of gluten-free beer.
Okay.
So it would have to be gluten-free beer for you, I think.
And also champagne.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
champagne.
usually say Prosecco, but, you know, if it's anything, I'll go champagne.
Like gluten-free beer is harder to come by than champagne.
Depends on the quality of the champagne.
Yeah, true.
Gluten-free beer and champagne is totally fine.
Yeah.
What about you?
Pretty good. I would say champagne, yeah. I would say, let's see, what would I say? I'd have to go for whiskey. That would be my choice.
You like
I don't know why we
whiskey.
went straight for the drinks. We could have gone for anything.
We do love a drink. Yeah, what kind of thing did you mean? Like
anything.
Chocolate,
I mean, we've had things like horses, massages, chocolate.
Oh my god!
I would totally have
I'd
have a massage. I'd have a massage for sure. I don't know. Although massage would make me really spaced out before.
I'm not sure if I could have a massage before. Massage after.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
But Daisy gives some good massages, so I'll just get Daisy.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like we need to go for something crazier. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm so small time. Like I was like, I really like Itsu, so I'll just get some vegetarian Itsu sushi. That'd be nice.
We're pretty happy with what we can get hands on as it is. No horses for me, thank you.
No.
Maybe some puppies. Puppies, that would be nice.
Or a little rabbit.
You'd like a little kitten, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I love rabbits. Imagine coming off stage, just a room of puppies, kittens, and rabbits.
Mayhem.
Oh no, the dogs would kill the rabbits. Oh.
I was thinking that.
Okay, so in pens.
Yeah. But nice spacious ones, you know. Yeah.
Pens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not pens. They're like
no, I know, like animal pens.
Imagine if your rider was just some good pens.
Yeah.
Although I often lose pens, so that actually would be quite handy.
I think we need to stop that.
Yeah. We're simple people. We don't need much. Yeah, I do have a gig to get to.
So we're going to hold you to that EP, by the way.
Okay.
Yes.
Just so you know.
Okay. As long as you provide us with some pigs. Not pigs. Why did I say pigs? I meant hens and puppies.
Baby pigs are really cute. Micro pigs.
Okay. We don't ask for much.
And if we want to find out more about her, how can we do that?
Well, at the moment, all we have is a mailing list, but we will be growing our social media stuff. So, but if you follow either of us, then you can see what we're up to.
Yeah, we're always updating our own social media with what we're doing with Herd, and then we will get a website and social media pages.
Sweet. Nice.
But we should say it's spelled HEARD.
Yes, like heard.
We've been
listening.
heard.
Yeah.
As opposed to herd of animals.
Yes.
And we like the fact that it has her in it. You see.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
That was the thinking behind
Mix
it.
between her and listen.
Yes. And like we want to listen to her.
That's it.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me. Sorry for this sort of silly, giggly stuff.
No, it's totally what we want. I wouldn't have asked that question if we didn't want silly, giggly stuff.
Pigs.
Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds like a whisper. Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds like a whisper.
Well, they're standing in the welfare lines, crying at the doorsteps of those armies of salvation, wasting time in the unemployed lines, sitting around waiting for a promotion. Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds like a whisper. Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds like a whisper. Poor people gonna rise up and take their share. Poor people gonna rise up and get what's theirs. Don't you know you better run, 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 run. Don't you know you better run, 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 run. 'Cause finally the tables are starting to turn, talking about a revolution, oh no. 'Cause finally the tables are starting to turn, talking about a revolution, oh no. Talking about a revolution, oh no. Well, they're standing in the welfare lines,
Crying at the doorsteps of those armies of salvation,
wasting time
in the unemployed lines, sitting around waiting for a promotion. Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds like a whisper. Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds like a whisper. Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds
talking about a revolution, oh no.
Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds
Talking about a
like a whisper.
revolution, oh no.
Don't you know,
the tables are starting to turn, talking about a revolution, oh no.
don't you know,